Right, so welcome back to the channel. I haven't made a video here in quite a while, but I'm excited to be back. And today I will be showcasing, we're talking more so about my M1 MacBook Air. I remember the video that I made on the 2015 MacBook Pro, and that's not only one of my most successful videos, but it's also something that the actual MacBook, I kind of keep thinking about it, or I keep coming back to it in a way that I like what it stood for once. It has a traditional Apple MagSafe connector, which was removed on the newer models, but now it has been brought back again, which I really appreciate. So one day when I buy the new M1 MacBook Pro, maybe in 2030, I'm gonna appreciate that they brought back the MagSafe connector. So it's not 2030, it is 2026. Well, I got the M1 MacBook Air in 2024, but still no MagSafe. So I was kind of wrong there, I guess, but it happened before 2030. Also, this is a good representation of the webcam footage from the M1 MacBook Air, which, as you can tell, is not the greatest, but then again, does it have to be, because it's a webcam? So, and also, there's no lights right now in my room, so it's very dark. So the only light that's coming is from the display itself. Yeah. Bye. Here we have something that is kind of the equivalent to that MacBook Pro, which is the M1 MacBook Air. This MacBook has been one of my best purchases ever. I'm using it now to edit this video. I've been using it throughout my master's thesis writing, which can be quite intense in terms of how many windows you have to have open at one time. When you're researching, you are practically constantly going back and forth different windows and then using a lot of resources in terms of RAM. Now, I got this laptop used. I'm someone who is a firm believer that you are better off buying used devices than purchasing them brand new if you don't have to. If there is a market already for these devices, which for Apple products, there's a huge market for used devices. So why wouldn't you go out and just use that advantage? The biggest kind of downside of a lot of those laptops when I was buying it, which was about 2 years ago this time, was the battery. The battery had already in a lot of them started to drop in terms of battery health. The battery itself, when I first got the laptop, was at around 98 or 99% of battery health. So I really did do some digging. There was a huge market, but a lot of the laptops that were available were either above the price point that I thought was reasonable, number one, and number two, a lot of them had lower battery health. So for me, this one was the sweet spot between price and also the battery health was 98 or 99%, I don't remember now. It's practically like new. The user told me that it was actually his sister's laptop. He also told me that she used the laptop mostly as her office laptop, which meant that it was mostly plugged in while working on it. So I don't know if this is a settled debate actually. Using a laptop plugged leading to lower battery cycles means that battery will degrade slower. If you're wondering how my laptop has held up over the years, it's almost perfect. I don't think there's a small dent here. That is one thing about these laptops. The build quality is amazing, and I mean just how thin they are and just how easy to open it is. All of this is perfect. But this aluminum or whatever it is, I think it's aluminum, it's soft. It's very soft. And if it comes into contact with anything that's a stronger material, it's gonna lose that fight. So if you hit a wall or even some piece of furniture, which is wooden, it's not gonna fare well. So my advice is get a case. I know that it's controversial within the community. Alleged hinge issues are mentioned and whatnot, but honestly, if I didn't get the case, or if I hadn't gotten the case back then, we wouldn't be talking about a near perfect condition of the MacBook now. See how nice. You know what I mean? I can work out with it. It's like SpongeBob, but just like instead of the teddy bears, I just had like the two MacBook Airs on the side. And then like I get flipped. I know that we all love, or at least those of us who did love the MacBook Pro for its ports and the keyboard. I know that that was something that we really enjoyed, and even the MagSafe charger. This laptop is insanely thin. It's insanely light, but also not too light where you will think or start to think that it's flimsy or not sturdy enough. So it's not heavy by any means, though if you have the charger on with you, if you have a case on it, it's gonna add up. But then again, compared to the 2015 MacBook Pro, it's wildly different. I'm a huge fan of this clamshell design. M2 and onwards, I can say that I'm a huge fan. Mostly because this MacBook has this distinct design and it stood apart from the Pro lineup. It gave you the impression that it's a more portable, more lightweight Air product. But then they came out with the M2 and they changed the design language from this thinner design to what it now is, and that is that there's not a lot of difference between the Pros and the Airs. I just wish they'd kept this design. Why did they have to change it? The new one for the Pro is good. For the Pro, it's good. But for the Air, why'd you feel the need to change something that already worked and people liked? I mean, doesn't this shape give you thin, air, light, you know? And then they use the same design for the Air and the Pro. Also, they lost this. They lost the MacBook Air label. I don't have to have it as a reminder. I know what it is. But it's good. It's nice. It like adds to the branding, you know? Oh, and it also has a fingerprint sensor. It's so quick. Look, look, look. Ready? I barely tapped it. It was great. It's like one tap, one single quick tap. Coming from the 2015 MacBook Pro again, the trackpad on the older version was very small, whereas this one, it's just like a piece of glass that is touch capacitive, and it also has the gestures, of course. And I still think that trackpads on Apple devices, I have Windows laptop for my work. Yeah, it's not even close. I think Apple still has the upper hand when it comes to trackpads. The keyboard is something that I'm divided. I still think there's not enough key travel, or when I'm typing for a longer amount of time, is my fingers get kind of sore. But again, I have a Windows laptop. Not saying that really the keyboard necessarily is better. It's more mushy. It's more comfortable on the fingers. One thing that I will mention that I really miss from the MacBook Pro, the 2015 one, is the dedicated key for keyboard brightness. Now you have to go to the menu bar and adjust the keyboard brightness, whereas before I just had dedicated buttons to do that. Now we have the button for microphone and for sleep mode. I'm not gonna talk much about the speakers. For me, on the MacBook Pro 2015, the speakers were completely blown out. They were essentially damaged, so I can't really give you a very good comparison if that's going to be a reference point. But without that, I can say that as a standalone device, this MacBook Air has really solid sound. I use it quite a lot to just watch YouTube videos while I'm preparing some food, or if I'm working out and I'm kind of in the background more so listening than watching a YouTube video, then I think it's perfect for that. The display itself is the Retina display. One thing that kind of makes it look dated are the bezels. It does have significant bezels around. I already kind of mentioned the performance on this laptop, and it's quite solid, right? The processor is really good for browsing the web, even editing some footage, maybe lighter footage, though this is 4K footage, 4K 50 frames per second. So this is quite, I would say, intensive footage, but it handles it without any hiccups. Though on the other hand, its RAM capacity is quite limiting. At some point when you have up to 30, 40 tabs open, and then, just kind of like forget about them. So you're like, okay, I'm gonna come back to them. After some time, of course, first of all, they're gonna reload. Not only that, your laptop will visibly get slower to the point where I actually have to restart it sometimes so that all of the tabs get closed. And then after the restart, it's back to the way that it was. And that's an amazing thing about these laptops, these processors, but also I think the software. So like the integration between the hardware and the software on Apple devices. It's amazing because I don't feel like, as I've been using this device for 2 years, plus it's been used already, I don't feel like it's a used device per se. So if you're maybe just thinking about getting this laptop, I would say to look into the 16 GB version one, and even maybe a higher internal storage capacity. This one is 128 GB, which of course you get less to use than the 128 gigs because of software and other files, whatever that means. So who is this laptop for? For students mostly. If you're a student who is writing, mostly reading articles, I hope at least that you're still writing and not really outsourcing your writing, if you know what I mean. Or if you're just consuming some content online, like YouTube videos, Netflix, or any other streaming service. I have a TV in my apartment, but I almost never use the TV, so I watch all of my TV on the laptop. Now, who is this not for? It's not for anyone who is a gamer, who is a very intense pro YouTuber, but if you're a pro YouTuber, you're probably aware that this is not for you. Maybe it was like a couple of years back, because I know of a lot of content that was being uploaded back then, pro YouTubers trying to use this as their main setup, and mostly they were able to, right? But one thing that really kind of they pointed out, as I did today, was the RAM. A lot of editing software uses or is reliant on not only the processor but also RAM. So, is the M1 MacBook Air still worth it in 2026? There's a couple of things to consider, mostly the battery health, price, if you can get it really cheap, and then also what your use cases are. If you have straight answers to those questions and you're not really an intensive user, the battery health is above 85%. And for the price point, I can't say a lot because it varies from a country to country. I mean, I definitely wouldn't overspend on an M1 MacBook Air, but still, as such, as a device on its own, you can't complain about it.